Hello and welcome to this edition of Inside Fort Worth Business, Fort Worth's only video magazine focused on telling the stories of the faces and personalities of Fort Worth and cultivating business. I'm your host, Chris Quinn. Our heart goes out to the businesses and the families of Harvey. You know, it's been an unbelievable week in Fort Worth, and Mayor Price and a lot of people have really stepped up to reach out to all the different people, and the American Red Cross, you can still do your part by texting Harvey to 90999. And we really need to think about what we can do to make a difference. So many different people have done their part, from lots of different people in Fort Worth, from Jamie Cashin and Troy Moncrief, Texas Christian University opening up their campus at TCU, Wes Williams, just so many different people. You know, it wasn't that long we were hit with the tornado right here in Fort Worth, and that had a huge impact. So we need to continue to think about how we can make a difference. The Balcom Agency has a diaper drive that they have going on. But what I've been most amazed during this whole Harvey experience is the role social media has played, not only with first responders leading the people to the first responders to the different scenarios and helping them find where they need to go, but also the role with social media. And starting with Kevin Hart, his plea to getting people to donate $25,000 that escalated to a Texan by the name of actress Sandra Bullock donating $1 million, which is incredible. That then escalated to J.J. Watts donating $15 million. And last night, I don't know if you saw on social media, Michael Dell donating $36 million. And this is all through the power of social media. And I love the fact that we've been able to see these stories with social media and the power of social media. So let's continue to think about how we can make a difference. Thank you, Mayor Price. Thank you, everyone in Fort Worth. I know there's lots of people that I probably haven't mentioned that are doing their part, but it's been wonderful to see everything firsthand and the power of social media. And when we think of power, that really brings me to my first story and the power of the medium. And when I think of power, I'd like to bring in my first guest, and that's a lieutenant with the Fort Worth Police Department, Lieutenant Kirk Driver on cue. How are you this morning, Lieutenant?
Fantastic. How are you?
How's everything going?
Great. Thanks.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Are you having a good weekend?
I am.
Good.
Yes, actually, it was a great weekend. Frogs won last night. Go Frogs.
Absolutely.
And this last week has just been a whole lot of stuff going on at work. I'm also been studying for a promotional exam. That was Thursday. First weekend in a long time that I haven't been pouring through the books. So, yes.
Let me ask you this. How does a lieutenant, someone with a master's from Tarleton and an MBA from Texas Christian University end up with the Fort Worth Police Department?
Well, I ended up with the Fort Worth Police Department first.
Okay.
So, pardon me. I came on the police department about 25 years ago. I was coming off of active service with the United States Marine Corps. I was recruiting in Plano, Texas. And truly it was well, I hear they're hiring. Sounds like something fun to do. I'll try my hand at being a cop for a bit until I figure out what I want to do when I grow up. 25 years later, fast forward, actually 22 years later, worked on a master's in criminal justice, and then about a year and a half ago finished up my master's in business administration. So those two degrees, the criminal justice degree, a long story short, it is my field. I went through an administrative officer's course that gave me a bunch of hours. It was the low-hanging fruit to just grab the degree. The MBA was supposed to be for the after. What do I do when I retire? Well, let me get this MBA, and that makes me more versatile, more marketable. Fortunately, and as always, best laid plans, mice and men, you know, God has different plans. And those two degrees working together has led me to the work I do now. within the police department.
Fantastic. Been reading a lot about a very positive, a lot of positive press about the leveraging project.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about that.
So, so you mentioned the 2 degrees. I went into an administrative role. I'm traditionally been a patrol guy. You call 911, I was the guy who answered the call, or I was the guy who supervised the guys who answered the calls, or the one who supervised the supervisors. I ended up in an administrative role to work on my education, attended a lot of community meetings, and there was a common theme in the community meetings of the area I was working was the east side, the Lancaster quarter, and the theme was, hey, all our good stuff's going away. The premium stores, the Albertsons, the Applebee's, the stuff that we all know in the suburbs and in the nicer parts of town. And the big cry was, how do we get businesses to invest in that area? So putting on the hat, I was driving down the street and thinking, well, why is that? And it's a crazy oversimplification, but it comes down, in my mind, and I know that the economists out there and the other business people are going to, oh, wait, there's a whole lot more to this than that. But it comes down to population density and median income. We have the density, we don't have the income in that area and on Las Vegas Trail, which incidentally, the Stop 6 area, which feeds the Lancaster corridor, and the Las Vegas Trail area are also the most violent areas in this city, which cries to the criminal justice aspect and the law enforcement aspect and the crime prevention stuff. So how do you address this? Why don't we have the median income? Why do we have the crime? I think, and I know it's all related. We don't have the income because people don't have the jobs that make the money. They don't have the jobs because they don't have the job training or the education that makes them marketable to those jobs. They don't have that because they don't have the basic education. They don't have that because they often, most times, their family or the individuals are in crisis. There's too much going on within the person and the family unit that is barriers to getting them to those positions. So then that begets the question, what are we doing to address it? Believe it or not, we're doing a whole lot to address it. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of nonprofits, education, government entities that are operating in this sphere, both on the east side in the Stop 6 community and on the west side in the Las Vegas Trail area. But nobody communicates. So the idea behind the leveraging project is, rather than being siloed up, let's say you run a nonprofit, this person runs a nonprofit, this person runs a nonprofit, we run the police department. If you have a need, or someone has a need, they have to identify they have the need. They have to identify who services that need. And then they have to go seek that service, fill out the forms to get access to those services for you. And then, oh, the other need, go across town to this one. The third need, go across town to that one. But what if we all partnered up and proactively, together, went into a community? I chose apartment complexes because that's where your density is, that you get more bang for the buck, and that's where more need is. What if we all went in and the police department worked on the external environment with our crime prevention tools? We have a Code Blue program, we have Crime Watch program, we've got crime prevention through environmental design, we got a ton of stuff. And at the same time had researchers driving the social services and education and everything else in with a needs assessment to every family in that community. Can they identify all of the needs for that one family, push out to the service agencies and say, they got this need, and this need. 2 to 3 weeks later, have someone come back, forms in hand, with a tailored prescription to meet that family's needs. Can we stabilize that family? Can we stabilize a community? And then move people towards job training and jobs, because jobs is the answer. And not your little minimum wage part-time jobs, but a true, I hate to be passe, but the living wage job. And that's what so that's what we're trying to do. I've actually bounced it off my boss. He said, run with it. It has been a long, slow process, but but moving the stone, it's finally got the momentum and it's starting to carry itself. We've got the mayor on board, the chief of police is on board, the councilman's on board. We've got community people that are on board with this, and it looks like we're finally getting that momentum to drive it in. We expect to launch the actual survey work, hopefully, if it passes through the institutional review board and gets their blessing, towards the end of this year.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
You bet.
Appreciate it. Great to see you.
Thank you.
Congratulations to your frogs.
Hey, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
You heard it. Lots of great things. When we think about the police department, back to blue, and all the great things they've got going on. Appreciate Kirk being here today, Lieutenant. You know, this time of year, everyone is very excited. I don't know about you, but it's kind of a I go into that mode where I just kind of eat nonstop. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday about the fact that it goes where I really eat 3 meals a day. I had last week I had a breakfast meeting out in the morning, and I had a lunch meeting, and I ended up eating. So how do we find that happy medium of eating healthy? You know, we know all the tricks, so I wanted to bring someone in that could maybe kind of help us with that and kind of figure out the best way to do that. So I've asked Kyla Winters to come in and kind of help talk to us about maybe a healthy approach to doing that. And Kyla, come on in. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
Good. How's everything going?
Good, how
Great.
are you?
How's your weekend going?
Wonderful.
Great. So when we talk about, what do you like most about trying to eat healthy?
The way I feel. I feel so much better. I've lost some weight. Just my body, the way I feel. I feel good.
So what do you think? There's all these different ideas. You know, we talk about smaller portions. We talk about, you and I were talking about the other day about you and I love sweets.
Yes.
And do you allow yourself to do one cheat day, or do you maybe eat a small portion every day, or do you,
I do. I plan. I have a cheat meal once a week, usually. And we talked about the sweets, and I have my chocolate, usually daily. I go to my coworker's office about 3 o'clock. I get a little stressed, and I have some chocolate. So, but I plan. Everything else I plan. I think that's the key, is planning your meals ahead of time. I sit down Sunday. I meal prep. I cook pretty much for the week, and I eat a lot of greens.
But do you think it's easier for women than men?
I almost think it's harder for women.
Do you?
Yes, we stress eat. We are feeding kids. I almost think it's harder for us.
You know, my problem is that we go to all these different functions and luncheons and meals and different things. What is the trick for eating healthy when we're going to all these different functions? I know we see each other at a lot of different luncheons and things. And
Yes, and I know, a lot of deals are made at the lunch table, a lot of meetings. There's donuts. There are sandwiches. You really have to plan, though. And again, that key is organization and planning. So I plan ahead of time. If I know I'm going to be at a restaurant, I'll look at the menu ahead of time, and I'll choose a chicken or a salmon over beef. Instead of rice, I will get vegetables. So, and I skip the bread. I skip those carbs, and I watch my sugars.
okay, so what are some tips that we can give the viewer on, because I think everyone has their own, different things work for different people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now we're kind of entering, here comes Halloween candy, and everyone has their own little secret. If I don't eat, or do I eat before I go to the event? But they have this fantastic food.
Mm-hmm.
What is our trick? I mean,
We talked about this. We bring our almonds. I bring my own. I do eat a little something before I go, so that I don't that I don't overindulge. I drink a lot of water. I think that's key as well.
Should I weigh myself?
I don't obsess over the scale, but I get on it once a week. I do. But I don't obsess about it.
Okay, so let's drill this down. How is all this going to make me better in the boardroom? Because what I do is that I go to these tailgates and I eat and I eat and I eat, and then Saturday is college football, and I go to all the tailgates. Sunday is Cowboys, right? And then I'm tired and I'm sluggish and I don't feel like working out. And I watch you do your little videos. Great job. I love your social media.
Thank
Love
you so
Sonia.
much.
But then I don't feel like working out, and I say I'm going to work out 3 or 4 days a week, and I work out 1 day a week. So
It's not going to cut it. No excuses. I had to learn that, health is such a big thing, and I would feel tired at the end of the day, and I have some health issues that I have to worry about, and I was making those excuses. Well, I'll do it tomorrow. There's no excuses. Even though you're tired, get up and do it. Even if it's only 30 minutes, you'll feel better.
But what they're saying is this deep thinking is that all your energy, you have most of your energy the first 3 hours of the day, so that you should put all your energy should go into your thinking. That if you go put it into your workout, you're sucking that out of your deep thinking. Thoughts?
Well, we know the research shows that, diet and exercise does make you feel better.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's good for the brain. It
So-
gets your day started.
So do you think your thought is to go work out first thing?
If I had the time, for me personally, I have to be at work by 8. I teach during lunch hour,
Okay.
so that I don't have an excuse to miss it.
Okay.
For some people, it might not work in the mornings, but ideally, I think getting up first thing, getting it done, you'll feel better about your day.
Okay, great. So let's talk about you. Kyla Winters, where can I talk about your brand? Where can I find you?
Okay, so I teach dance fitness classes at Texas Wesleyan University 3 days a week.
Okay.
I also teach at Sally's School of Dance. I teach dance classes 1 day a week as well. And then I'm also the assistant to the dean at Texas Wesleyan. So.
Okay, and you teach all ages, right?
Correct. That's the greatest thing about my class. I call it a dance party. Every week, all ages, staff, students at Wesleyan, or even faculty. I've had faculty join our classes and bring their students in. It is a lot of fun. It doesn't matter your age, your gender, nothing. We just get in there and we feed off of each other. It's a great way to get your cardio in. It's dance fitness.
Great. Now tell us your story real quick.
So that was one thing is, during my lunch hour, the last thing I wanted to do is go sit and have lunch and just sit for an hour. So I started walking around the campus daily for lunch, and I found myself in the fitness center, and I just started working out and doing the classes there, and I felt so much better. I've lost about 45 pounds.
That's
I am proud to
fantastic.
say.
That's fantastic. And where can we find you on social media?
I am on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter.
Great. And how do you use social media?
I promote my classes. I make my students accountable, and they show up because they are accountable. They want to be seen sometimes. So.
Great. And you do a lot of gift videos, don't you?
I do. We have a lot of fun.
That's-
It really is. It's a dance party for everyone. So
That's cool.
yeah, thank
So,
you.
one closing tip: exercise over diet, diet over exercise. Don't tell me don't tell me both.
Balance, of course, balance. I really plan my meals. I work out daily, every day. I don't miss a day. I don't take a rest day.
Okay.
But I think that's key. And staying motivated and just surrounding yourself with other people that have the same goals.
Great.
Yes,
Thanks
sir.
for being here.
Thank you, Chris.
Appreciate it. Great to
Good
see you.
to see you.
Okay, we're having lots of audio issues going on today, aren't we? Hey, that's great. So we're all trying to stay in shape, right? And I think that's one of our biggest challenges. This time of year, we're going from summer to fall, right? And all that good food's coming out. Halloween's right around the corner, and it's an exciting time for us. Hey, my next guest is someone that Marianne Dufresne's going to go out and talk to on Meltdown Monday. Here in a couple weeks, she's going to do a tour. You know, in the good old days, down on 8th Avenue, just down the street from my favorite delicatessen, Carshawn's Deli, where if you want to get one of our favorites is the Rachel get pastrami instead of corned beef, and they've got the best homemade pies. Down the street used to be a place called Massey's. Let's have the best chicken fried steak. If you go down a little bit more, Esperanza's, which is part of the Joe T's, down from that old neighborhood grill. Across the street, Chandra's Grill. Next door is a place that I came across called the Art Station. And I had the unique pleasure of meeting Peggy Marshall. And Peggy is going to come in and tell me about the Art Station briefly, because Marianne is going to go over in a couple weeks and tour the Art Station. So Peggy, if you want to come on in, how are you today?
I'm good. Good
Great.
to
How's
see
everything
you.
going? Good to see you. Nice to be seen.
Well, nice to be seen. For
Good.
sure.
Let me get you to slide in a little bit more. How's that for us, guys? Great. How's everything going?
It's great.
Great. Are
I'm so happy to be here.
Good.
You know why?
Why?
Because just like you said, you ran across our building next door. A lot of people do that, and they don't know what the art station is. They think that we do arts and crafts or
Right.
teach art lessons for kids,
What does the
and
art?
that's not what we do.
What do you do?
We do art therapy
Okay.
for children age 5 all the way up to adults,
Okay.
and adults up into their 80s. We also have 2 groups for veterans a week.
Great.
Um,
Now tell me about you.
Okay.
She's
Should we talk about art therapy first?
Okay, let's talk about art. Well, I think it's interesting because there's 4,300 nonprofits in Fort Worth. You have a business background, right?
I do have a business background.
Okay, talk a little bit about that.
I went to TCU. Go
Okay, that's
Frogs.
right. That's where I was going as far as this standpoint. I was leading down that road because
Yes.
it's a TCU theme, but
A theme day.
Yeah.
For sure. I went to TCU. I actually went through the journalism school and got an advertising, public relations, business background
great,
with radio, TV, film. It was a
Perfect.
minor because it was fun.
great.
And started off into working with agencies and then into corporate, and then had some life-changing things for me and decided to do some consulting and to do things that had missions and things that meant a lot to me, and the Art Station stole my heart away with what they do.
Okay, what is the Art Station?
The Art Station is a nonprofit organization, and it provides art therapy. And a lot of people go, well, what is that? And it's not just about making art. It's about making art with a mental health professional who's trained in art, but also trained in therapy and counseling, who can deal with a lot of situations that come up. And what art therapy does is, well, maybe the best way to explain it is when, a lot of times life challenges can cause our emotions to get kind of swirling around inside,
Right.
and it leaves us stuck in some challenging situations. And what art therapy does is it uses the visual language of creating art and that process of creating art with a trained mental health professional, graduate level and above, to help work through that in very skillful ways that bring the inside out, and that provides clarity, and it can also deal with those situations when, sometimes words are just a little too painful or too difficult, or you maybe don't have that clarity until you can get it out through art making, and you have a therapist there that can help you, and you can come do some solutions and deal with the situation much easier, and can make some breakthroughs when maybe traditional approaches just may not work.
Okay, now I know Marianne's going to come out in a couple weeks and tour.
I'm excited.
Yeah, we are
Yeah.
too. I know you have a big fundraiser every year,
Yes.
And I think that that's what the community might know you as, right? Because that's so high profile, and there are lots of high profile artists. But in a nutshell, elevator speaks, the Art Station is,
A nonprofit that is a one of a kind in North Texas, and it's solely dedicated towards providing art therapy to the community,
okay,
to help individuals that are dealing with difficult life circumstances heal and grow.
great. Okay, so we're going to be learning more about this, and Mary Ann is going to go out with Meltdown Monday, do a tour. She's got some other things planned that we're going to kind of be learning about, but this is really empowering things that they're doing over there. And Peggy's kind of been brought in, I think, as far as to kind of rebrand. Is that fair?
Well, not rebrand, to really look at how we can grow the Art Station, strategic growth plan. And the whole bottom line is that we want to serve more people. We're the only organization, in North Texas doing this, and one of the few in the country doing this. And we see in the community that there's a real need for people to have different ways, alternative ways that can break through and help them heal and grow. And we're trying to grow and add more art therapists and serve more people.
Fantastic. And we're excited about learning more.
Yeah, we're going to show some examples of ways that works and why it works. And they're fun.
Terrific. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
All righty. Thanks. Good deal. That was awesome. We are learning, and that's what it's all about. So many cool things going on in the community and changes taking place. My next guest is someone that is a pillar in the community and is a music maker, and that I'm excited to have with us, that's going to talk about making music and the challenges of making music. And being a businessman, Mr. Rod Nelson is with us this morning. Here he is.
Hello, sir.
How are you, sir?
Doing well. How
How's
about
everything
you?
going?
Doing great.
What's shaking?
Well, it's a beautiful Sunday morning.
It is. How you feeling?
Doing well, man.
Good.
Glad to be here.
What's going on with Legacy 4?
Legacy 4, we've actually been on a break. One of our guys vacations with his wife during the summer, so it's been nice to kind of have some time off to go watch other bands.
Good.
And I like to pick up tips from entertainers because I like to watch, no matter what genre of music, I like to watch people perform.
Right.
And it's weird because it's funny to tell people I can get up in front of a group and sing, but to tell people I don't like attention. I sing at McKinney Bible Church, which is a big sanctuary. I can get up in front of people and sing. But I get uncomfortable when people go, man, that was really good. You're a great singer, blah, blah, blah. And I get uncomfortable. I just want to go hide. But I love watching other people perform just to see how other people do it and just to pick up ideas. I love to encourage people and make people smile. So it's been great.
What do you love most about being a storyteller with your music?
For me, I think it's just encouraging people. Music crosses all language, color barriers. You could probably find the biggest races, but you play a song or, sports does the same thing too, and they can probably just cross over and say, hey, I like that too, regardless of who you are or what color you are. So for me, music, no matter, for me, I tell people all the time, if I'm singing, I'm happy. So I know for a lot of people, it soothes the soul. And to be able to sing and encourage people is uplifting. So I always tell people or ask people, do you know what your purpose on this earth is? What has God placed you here for? And for me, I think it's to encourage and inspire. And one of those ways for me is through music and singing.
Do you feel, a lot of performers feel like they're out of place when they're not performing, or they miss the stage? Is it hard for you when you're not performing?
No, because, I've always been in sales all my life, and I'm kind of in sales and promotion. I work for Texas Health Resources as a business growth specialist working with physicians. I've always worked with physicians. I was a pharmaceutical rep for about 13 years. And so when I'm always out, I'm always engaging with people. So when I'm not performing, yes, I miss that, but I'm not uncomfortable not being that way. It's interesting because I do speak a lot through work, and a lot of times I just kind of want to just be quiet and still and not talk. And for a lot of people, they want you to just always be on. So that's tough. And I go to Magnolia Motor Lounge a lot just to watch bands, and I stand over in the corner just to watch. And a lot of people go, you just stand there and you never talk to anybody. And I go, but I'm happy, you know. I'm enjoying myself. I'm watching music, and just that's my sanctuary where I just kind of like relax and chill. So, in fact, I've had a couple people go, I never knew you could sing. I just thought you were the guy that stood over in the corner. But yeah, so I'm not different from when I'm on the stage. I'm actually different when I'm on the stage because people go, wow, you're a different person up there. You just let go. And I go, I do. I said, because I just get wrapped in the music and entertaining. So,
How would you describe your style?
well, I sing in a Motown cover band, so it's definitely soulful. My influences were, well, one, my uncle who I sing with in the band, and Stevie Wonder, Luther Vandross. I'd probably say my style's more like Luther Vandross, just kind of smooth, balladeer. So, but I love all types of other music too, like a guy named Mark Broussard from Louisiana. I love his style. He's just soulful voice and just the way he projects it and sings it. And another guy locally, Josh Weathers, who I'm actually going to go see this afternoon. That guy's just amazing. He's absolutely amazing, and he's such a great person too. Just on what he does on a worldly scale with his adoption and also with his foundation where he helps children. I believe it's in Africa. So,
Great. Where do you want to take your music?
you know, with our band, and I hate saying this because my uncle and his buddies are a little bit older. One guy is actually 79. I know we can only do it for maybe a couple more years. And then after that, I'd probably want to just get with other guys and just make music. I've never written music, but again, I love all types of styles. I can't play anything. All I can do is sing. But would love to continue that on locally. But just to do music that encourages people. Either go and do more, bring things out in them that they didn't think, or encourage them to go and inspire other people. Because again, music it soothes the soul. So,
Right on. Good deal.
yeah.
It's awesome. I enjoy following you.
Well, I appreciate it. No, I was, as I told you, I said I've always watched your clips on like Instagram or Facebook, but I never thought it was as big as what it is. And so when I see you out all the time, I remember the first time I was like, man, who is this Chris Quinn guy? In fact, I think you had Christy Wilson on last week, and I asked Carol, I was like, I see the guy all the time. I love him. I said, I just didn't know him,
Oh, yeah.
but now I do. So
That's cool.
I
Where
appreciate
can
it.
we find you?
Well, Facebook
Okay.
and Instagram and LinkedIn as well.
Okay.
Yes.
And your handles are?
Rod Nelson.
Okay.